course.
Hello, Teacher Tech. How are you doing today? I'm Melody, and I'm here with Alice, and we haven't gone live in quite a while, Alice.
I know it's hard to start the school year.
Right.
We all
And
know that.
yes, and so that's why I wanted to talk about it today. You've had an exciting week, and I wanted to talk about it. Tell us about your first week back.
My first week back, and it feels awesome. I obviously have great students, and I'm just trying to start slow and just making sure that I'm doing things a little different. I've got it's on this side, my ditch that homework. So, I'm teaching 10th grade geometry, actually just geometry. They don't have to be 10th graders. And, I think they're used to getting homework for math. And so the first is just, we're not going to have homework. We're going to use our class time really efficiently. And what are some things that we're going to be doing? And looking at how we can go deeper and do more number sense and really understanding them. So before I get into that, because it's just going to be different, I think geometry itself is just different than maybe what you would do in an algebra class. So I just want to help build up their confidence. They know how to turn things in. They know what it looks like to do math. So what I'm really excited about is GeoGebra notes, which I think you could use in every single subject. Now, I don't want anyone going out and putting their worksheets in there, but you can add a PDF into there. You can add multiple pages. They can draw. You can embed a website. You can embed a video. So if you do a Google search for GeoGebra, GeoGebra, right? For some reason,
I'll do it.
GeoGebra. I have to type it. GeoGebra notes. Google search that. This is going to be like amazing. It's great for math, obviously. It allows you to insert math symbols and things, but it's an open canvas to put, you can write, you can put text, you can embed a website, and it shares really, really easily. So I just take the share link and I put it in Classroom, and students are able to do their own. It basically just makes a copy at that point. So I'm really excited about introducing my students to this so they know how to do math anywhere, regardless of whether or not we end up going remote. Because right now we're face-to-face.
Wow. And so those of you who are watching or listening, tell us, are you face-to-face? Are you remote? What are you using that is being helpful? What are your, your takeaways right now? We just want to kind of like decompress after this week. And a lot of people went back this week. So we have a lot of people I've seen some. Yeah. Yeah. And a few people have been
after Labor Day, but can you ever really be ready? It doesn't matter. Just go.
Well, and the thing is that this year started out a lot differently. It had a different feel because of all the things that are happening, COVID, and not being sure, like teachers being scared, students being scared, parents being scared about everything. I mean, it's all relevant. But I want to know
temperature
yes
duty this week. So as the kids come in, get them with the touchless.
Are you helping them do that?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the principal,
all the teachers?
Mm-hmm. I love doing things like that. So at my old school, apparently no one likes to do yard duty. No one likes to do yard duty. But crosswalk duty, yeah, no kidding. This teacher was tired as well. All my kids are back at school, and it's just everybody's busy and things are going on, and you got to keep track of them. But I like doing the crosswalk, and so instead of the crosswalk, I'm doing the temperature check. But greeting kids in the morning, I mean, is there anything better? I love that. Just, hey, how you doing? The weird part about it is you can't see their face. That to me is the hardest one to get used to. And I've asked them to, but my students will not wear the same clothes every day. I'm like, that would really help you guys. Just wear the same shirt because I can't see your whole face.
I like it. A lot of people are chiming in. Thank you, Emily and Kim and Nicole, for sharing. Yes, I can't even imagine like having like not being able to know their faces. That is such a dilemma. Seriously. Wow. Crazy. How are you making it student-centered right now?
If I want to be student-centered, I always try to start my class where I don't start class talking about me. I want to find out about the kids. So the other geometry teacher and we did the Teach Like a Pirate activity where you take the Play-Doh and you ask them to spend 10, 15 minutes making something that represents them. And of course you ask them about it and we share out. And then what we did today is I had them, we just did because the classroom's kind of awkward, we went into the cafeteria area where they could social distance and space out so we could have a conversation about grade. What does a grade even mean? What should we grade on? So I haven't made my syllabus yet. So one of the things I want to make sure that I do is that I listen to things that they have been frustrated about, what they think is fair, and that we have a conversation before I put all of that together.
Wow. That's awesome. Did that kind of like blow their minds?
Melody, we used a spreadsheet together. I know.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. Not surprised. How did they feel about like you talking about like what did they about, having their input about grades and then also about the spreadsheet? I'm just curious.
At first they just kind of sit there. You're like, I put them in small groups, socially distanced, of course. And I give them a bunch of talking points. What does an A even mean? What does it mean if you get one of these? Or B or C or D? What should it mean? By what criteria, if I give you an A, by what criteria should we mark that off on? And a long time ago, I do grade lists. You can join the Facebook group with Star Saxteen, teachers throwing out the grades. So I've done a lot of research, and basically we just don't have the ability to equitably or accurately grade on a 100-point scale. So I just do credit, no credit on everything. And I told them, like, look, it's either going to be good or you're going to do it again. And they're looking at me, and they're like, so I can't fail? I'm like, no, you're going to do it again. And then, it took them a little bit to get their brain around it. And they're like, okay, I could do that. And, of course, I throw the I don't do homework. I go, you're going to come to class, and you're going to give me, you're going to work hard, and you're going to go home, and you're going to relax because your brain needs a break. And so they were digging that. And, like, I don't know. I think we don't ask kids, how do you want to be graded? We tell them how they're going to be evaluated. So they're just like, I don't know. So I have to start getting them to like open up, like, well, what kinds of things did you feel weren't fair? So one of my students was like, well, they just seem to randomly weight stuff. I'm like, I know when I weighted stuff, I just made it up. I'm like, I don't know. Homework's 10%. I made it up. And I'm like, I get that. I can get how it can feel random because it kind of is.
Right.
So once I got them, and I went out to the different groups, and you know what I have, because of course I have to, got my mask on, is I have a handheld microphone that I bought years ago. And that is so great because then it comes out the mask and I'm not having to, I feel like I'm talking louder through it. So the microphone really helped me a lot. So then I also don't have to stand right next to the kids. I can kind of stand back a little bit. You can get one of these ones that's got like it just sits on your hip. It's got like a little speaker on your hip and a headset that are usually pretty cheap. See if your principal will get you one. But anyway,
Wow.
Just going around to each of the groups a little bit at a time and just kind of listening to them, giving them some like prompts, like, what would it look like if you had a portfolio? For whatever reason, our textbook, it's not a textbook that I've ever seen. It's a book of worksheets. And I'm like,
wow.
Well, we have Chromebooks. I don't think I need a book of worksheets. And it's this thick.
Your favorite thing, worksheets.
Just ask them, do you want one? And wouldn't you know it? No one did. Mostly me. Like, I don't want to figure out how to collect this paper. And especially if we go remote, I don't even know what to do. And so that's why I'm really excited about the GeoGebra notes, because that frees me from feeling like I'm bound to this textbook or consumables. But because I can take I went and did a Google search for a geometry image that I liked, and I right-clicked and I did copy. And then I go over to GeoGebra Notes and I Control-V paste, and it put it right in there. So taking a screenshot or one of these, I can add it in there and have it a lot more interactive and creative than I could. I mean, I kind of stuck with they don't even give you enough room to do the problem on these things. That's
right. I hate that. Yes. I struggle with that with my own kids, definitely. And you just pull out, more paper or whatever. I have to say that I've enjoyed some of the GeoGebra.
And
Oh,
I've
wow.
the last time. I went through the Kansas State standards, and I noticed that this doesn't match.
Surprise.
So what I'm doing is I have created, maybe I could screen share this. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up before I
want to say I've enjoyed your GeoGebra little sessions live with Tim and Chris and now Victoria. So cool.
I'm so happy to have Victoria there.
I was laughing when I was watching you guys yesterday. It's so fun. Okay. But it does look like a really cool resource. So,
okay, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to do this one. So what I have done is I have a completely separate Google Classroom. I have not shared this with the students yet. First, I just want to kind of go slow, right? Can you turn in assignments? My assignment for Monday is basically just explore GeoGebra notes. When I introduce a new tool, I don't want to show them how to use it. I want them to explore it first, see what they can figure out. If they don't figure out what I wanted them to, I'm like, okay, here's some other features you didn't notice. But that's one of my ways that I try to help students to not be afraid of technology, is to ask them to explore it first. And then my next one is I'm doing some little geometry triangle thing where I really want to emphasize the importance on strategies. What's your strategy for how you're going to answer this, not what's the answer? So I'm putting that into GeoGebra notes. So, but separately, I've taken all of the standards. So you can see here we have experiment with transformations in the plane. And then I added each standard. I copy and pasted this. Took me like an hour. Each standard as a material. So that just helps me to have one place where I know where all the standards are. And then, go back here. I've done one. But I want to make sure especially with, I don't know if we're going to go remote. I want to give every student an opportunity to have all of the standards, whether or not I can cover them deeply. Actually, we know that I cannot cover all of them deeply, regardless of the circumstances. So the other geometry teacher and I, we're teaming up. We're sharing the same one Google Classroom. We're putting all of our students in here, and we're creating a self-paced section. And it's lightweight. It'll have a lesson, so I have in here a little GeoGebra applet to help them experiment with it. Here's the Wikipedia. Here's a video that explains it. And then I've got a quizzes quiz, which, by the way, did you see that quizzes updated this week?
Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
I'm like, take my money. I need this. And I need this especially because, okay, right, I've added this quizzes quiz, and I love quizzes because for so many reasons, but it imports their scores right in. So I want this to be something that's self-paced, they can do throughout the year, but I have some control over it. So it only lets you do 2 weeks on the due date. So then I have to, before the due date ends, I go into quizzes, and on each one of them I have assigned, I have to click edit and push out the due date, another 2 weeks.
Wow.
Right? I don't really want to do that. You can see why. So the new feature now lets it be 6 months. And I'm thinking, okay, the amount of time I was going to spend editing the due dates, please take my money. I want this. It also has lessons that are a little bit like Pear Deck, where it pushes to their screens. I just saw the video, and I'm like, shut the front door. So I need to play with them some more, but I'm super, super excited. So I'm going to, I've got and these are going to be just DOK1, lightweight assessments, just so I have something, regardless of the craziness, they have something they can work on at whatever time. If the internet's not working, but a sub, or I don't know, just some days I need to do some work. It's like work in the self-paced. So I haven't decided yet how that's going to influence their final grade, is how much they have to do. But you do have to take it until you pass. So that's one of the things I think is a big advantage to using technology. Hey, Rachel. that I think is a big advantage to using technology is you can really rethink why. Why do we give low scores? As
Right.
Esky says, there's no doctor from the University of Kentucky, Thomas Guskey, Guskey. There's no research, none, that shows that giving kids a low score is motivating. In fact, the opposite, it causes them to quit and give up. So what I've told my students is this year, my job is to record your learning, not how many times you failed. So if it's not good enough, you're going to redo it. And I don't know, I just have really great kids. They seem to take that well. I said, look, here's the mindset you have to have. You don't submit. You don't turn in. You don't turn in. You submit for feedback. And I'm going to tell you how you can improve this and give it back to you. And so long as you're willing to do that, you're going to do it till you're successful. So that's what we're trying this year. Start a spreadsheet, and I put it in Google Classroom where students can edit, which is my favorite. We're going to collaborate on it. And I put A, B, C, D, F at the top. And then I have the columns and column A, where we put the criteria for how we're going to grade. Because I like to go on a rubric. I don't grade with total points. I haven't for years. So they're, of course, looking at me like I'm crazy. And so I said, well, I'm going to help you guys out, because the first criteria is knows how to make a spreadsheet. So I typed that in there. And one is, what? I said, look, for all the times that you've ever said, when are we ever going to use this for math? The answer is a spreadsheet. I go, so here's the deal. You have to be able to create a spreadsheet from scratch. You have to be able to freeze the first row and put in column headers and do simple formulas and make multiple tabs. I can show you this in one day, so don't freak out. All of you are going to be masters of this spreadsheet, but if you want to know where your math applications come from, we're going to do spreadsheets. I say, okay, can you demonstrate to me that you know how to do basic functions of a spreadsheet? Okay, now what else? You know, and then with first period. So I'm like, all right, well, we're just going to finish this tomorrow. So right now in first period, we've decided that we're going to use a spreadsheet.
Wow. Those kids are going to be so smart and savvy after, you know.
We got a little bit farther, but it was still with the, I don't know what to put, but they shared a lot of great things. They would rather emphasize projects over tests. I'm like, okay, so how are we gonna write that down? And so just talking about that, my projects, to get an A, my projects demonstrate the geometry standards and they clearly communicate that I understand them. Right, so I wrote the teacher speak.
Right.
But, you know, hey, babe. So
Hi, Martin.
I'm working from home. I'm going to put this geometry book away.
Now, I love that. So basically, if you just joined us, Alice has been talking about like her first week back. How is she making her classroom student-centered? And she's working very well, I guess, with the other geometry teacher. But so they've talked with the students about
Google Classroom stream.
So yes, and they've been talking about grades and how the students have come together and in small groups and talked about what they want. So it's definitely student-led. And they've also talked about strategies. And you've put strategies over the actual product. You're trying to emphasize the strategies. That sometimes
numbers
and
math,
build that confidence
in your strategy. Yep. So me and the other geometry teacher, we have created a Google Classroom for the standards. And you can see that he didn't have a Bitmoji, but after today, he did. So we're doing it. Check it out.
Nice. So cool. Yeah. I want that finger like that always makes me think of funny things. Sorry. Okay. I'm totally inappropriate all the time. But yeah, I love it. I love that. And I am so happy for you. And I love this fresh and happy vibe coming off of you. It's reaching me from all the thousands of miles of separation that we have. It's so cool.
Kansas is tricking me. The weather has been amazing every day since I got here. I know it's lies. It's lies. The weather's going to turn on me any day now. But, you know, the weather's nice.
November. You have probably till November.
It's hard to complain.
Yeah. So Alice, I'm going to ask you this, but I'm also going to ask everybody who's watching, what have your weekly takeaways? Maybe you've been in school for 3 weeks now. Maybe you haven't even started school yet. What are your takeaways that you've been learning or thinking about? Fill us in. We'd love to hear from you.
I'm
I'll start
excited.
with you, Alice.
You want to hear from me?
Yeah.
I'll just give you my takeaways. So,
Yeah.
I have my premium membership where I have people sign in every week. How's it going? What things can I support you with? And it's just, I feel like just people feel so stressed and there's so much to do. And, my advice, I know it sounds hard, is don't stress. That doesn't make you a better teacher when you're all stressed out. And I know it's easier said than done. But if you're stressing out, you're just making yourself less unstressed. I don't know.
I don't know. I think you're spreading the stress. It's hard not to be stressed.
And it's just like what you can get done will be good enough. And I highly encourage you to set a schedule and say, this is when I'm going to work. This is when I'm going to do schoolwork. This is when I'm going to answer emails. And if it doesn't get done, oh well. We can't solve all of the problems. We can't do everything. And I feel like we're piling all of it onto our own shoulders. And some of it's the administrators are piling it onto your shoulders a little unfairly. They won't buy you the resources that you need to do it. Like, do it remote and hybrid and face-to-face. And by the way, we're not getting you any tools. And it's like, oh my gosh. You know what? So we just cut yourself some slack. What the kids need is for you to care about them. Start with show them you care about them. You start with making sure they know the processes and go slow. Especially if you start remotely, it's already overwhelming no matter what you do. It's like, I just had them turn in a screenshot of anything. Can you turn in a screenshot? What do you want to share with me? Do you know how to click the turn in button? I do a daily attendance question. It's just let's just get used to you checking the Google Classroom every day, and it's a multiple choice. I do ask a question in Google Classroom. Then I know my attendance, and they're getting into it. So just my takeaway is you just got to give yourself more grace,
and pass that on to your students also, and your parents and all of your school community. I love that. I'm gonna do that pause. I hope some other people will share. I think my takeaways. I am just iterating every day. I am homeschooling this year again for the second year, and every day
I can't.
I'm like, how do I get all of this stuff done? But spending time with your kids. Like I got to read with my fourth grader, and I just love it. And I said this earlier when I was on live with my friend Rochelle. Being able to read, like we were just reading about sharks today with my son, Ben, and just being able to have conversations and some of the stuff we were reading, he's like, whoa. And just being able to have those moments of sharing. I love that. Those are the things that he and I are going to remember. And like you're saying, like I'm getting ahead of myself too, because I'm like, how am I going to figure out working from home and because I added a kindergartner in this year, and she needs me. So my older kids need me just a tiny bit less. They can do a little bit more independently, but my kindergartner and my second grader need me a lot. So just balancing all of that, but also, like you said, giving all of us grace. I woke up today and I had lots to do, and I wanted to start it off with exercising, and I started screaming at my kids, and then everybody started screaming at each other. And so I thought to myself, this is not how I want my days to start, because this is awful and it's just a train wreck. But I am all about apologies. I apologize to everyone, including my husband. I'm sorry that I started yelling at all of you and I made this morning a wreck. And I don't want to do that. So anyway, that was my takeaway for this week, and giving myself grace to just make every day, until we get to that routine that works for us, but making sure to spend quality time with each other. So
love that.
Yeah. Yes. And we're not hearing from anybody else. And I'm wondering if I'm missing comments earlier. I was missing.
I hope everybody's relaxing as they should be. If you don't take time for yourself and do self-care, you're going to burn out and want to quit. So that is my goal, is for myself for this year to want to come back next year.
Yes. Come back the next day for some of us. Yeah.
Yes, next day. The kids are really awesome this year. I feel like I won the lottery, honestly.
You look like you won the lottery. Your face is beaming. You know, you're so happy. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
And for anybody who wants to understand how Alice is doing all this, I did put this on the bottom of the screen, alicekeeler.com/membership. This is an opportunity for you. I think it's $12 a month, but you do get the first 2 weeks for free to see if it's worth your $12 a month, or if you want to do it for 1 month or 2 months or whatever you decide. This is something that Alice provides. She gives you office hours. You get her newest and latest webinars. And also you get a great little newsletter that nobody else gets except for the premium membership. So, and I get it. So I will say it's very worth it. And it gives a lot of details. And there's a lot of buttons to click.
I do, because I do a bunch of office hours and webinars, and I really try to treat this like the job that it is and give you a lot of benefit.
Yeah. And I love it that you're in it with everybody right now. You're in it. You're doing things that other teachers are doing. You're not far away, out of touch with what's happening in reality. Like just your advice with the mask and the microphone.
0.83 megabits per second in class today, which means no one could get on to the Google Classroom. So, you know, flexibility and grace. That's my motto all year.
Love it.
Message
yes.
the office asking, can I please get an access point in my room? Please.
Yes. Flexibility and grace. And I know you said that with so much grace, right?
I did, actually, because I love my job, I love my boss, I love my school, I love my kids, and I just would please and thank you if I could have a access point.
Heck yeah. I love your purple face, Kim. Like, goes with the purple Alice theme. That is so cool. I hope you get your access point, and I'm sure that there's a lot of teachers out there that understand that frustration very well. It's one of those things that is out of our control, but we can't control how we are. And take time this weekend. Do something that you love. What is something you're going to do this weekend that you love, Alice?
Well, it's what I do every night. So what I do is I get up really early, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I try to get work done. And then I work hard all day. And then at dinner, I'm going to spend time with my kids. I'm going to spend time with my family. And then I invested in myself. I got a fire pit couch thing it actually delivered on Amazon. And that is what I do every night if the weather's good, is I relax.
Yes, that's awesome. Whew, I'm just telling you, wait till November, but otherwise you've got a couple of months, so keep enjoying. Yeah, love the Midwest weather.
Keep telling you this.
Yes.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. You're not going to rain on my parade.
I'm not going to rain on your parade. You're right. Kansas is amazing. And also Kansas likes the Kansas City Chiefs. So you know, poor Barton, but whatever. It all works out. It all works out. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope that you have an amazing weekend. Take care of yourself. Do something. I told my friends earlier, I've bought like 3 Harlequin romance books just to get my mind off everything. 198 pages of escape. Do what you got to do to get your mind, give your mind a break, and enjoy your family and friends and in a safe possible way. And we'll see you again next time. Bye, everybody.